Rather large, welcome back to Kossi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kossi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're diving into Mikel Arteta's words after that thrilling defeat against Man United. 3-1 on the result. And also on the VAR decision. I like it when he says it's just a soft foul. And you need to be consistent when you're a referee, especially with VAR. You need to be very, very consistent. I'm gonna be honest. It has been a weekend of VAR disasters. It has been a weekend. I don't know how you have a very bad day in office on Saturday as VAR officials, and then you sit around the big table and talk about it, and then you have a disaster class on Sunday as well. These things look like they're pre-planned. VAR looks like, these mistakes are not natural. You cannot have, such a disaster throughout the weekend. But anyway, Mikel has been speaking about all that. And also, what is the injury update on Thomas Partey, because we definitely need him back as soon as possible. Mohamed Elneny, there is no future there. There is no hope on Mohamed Elneny. He's going to be out for months. So we won't talk about him in this video, but we'll talk about Thomas Partey because we definitely need him in the next games to come. And I'll talk about Odegaard as well. Is he fit? Is he back 100%? Or did he play with an injury? Did he play with a knock? It seemed very, very uncomfortable. Hit the like button for us. Let's get this video to 800 likes, and also subscribe to the podcast as well. We are very close to 60,000 subscribers. So here are Mikel Arteta's words after the game and after all the action had actually a little bit calmed down. Now, on the result, he said, "I'm very disappointed that we haven't won the game because the game was there for the taking. We haven't won it because we lacked some discipline in certain moments to defend certain actions, and there were and then we were involved in something in front of the opponent's goal." So he says the game was there for the taking, and I think I agree with him there, because look, even at 1-0 down, Arsenal looked like the better side. Even when United felt like they were back into the game, we really threatened them. And this was a game which had two dimensions. One, was Arsenal having the ball all the time, and Man United hitting at the break. And the other was Man United having the ball and Arsenal hitting at the break. We saw it again. We saw it in the Martinelli goal. They kept the ball better, but when we won it back, we straight went to them and scored a goal. For me, in my opinion, a goal that should stand, no matter the case. If it's non-VAR, that goal stands because the referee looks at it and he says, that is a soft foul, proceed. And that is where I feel VAR is interfering with, with play, coming into action for something that is not clear and obvious. That is soft. Eriksen goes down very early, goes down very easily, and the referee sees that, and the referee notices that and says, carry on. So Mikel says we lacked some discipline in certain aspects of the game. We lacked some discipline in certain areas of the game, and I will agree with that. The game was there for the taking, but you cannot win the game defending like that. You really cannot win the game with such kind of an open back system. You cannot. You need to be very, very brave. You are playing against one of the some of the best teams in Europe. Sorry, not in Europe, but in the Premier League, especially historically. When they come in this fixture, they know what it means. You're playing one of the best managers. Again, I think Mikel Arteta got it wrong. He forgot about Erik ten Hag. He literally didn't give Erik ten Hag a chance in his preparation, and we saw it yesterday. Arsenal were all over Man United, but we forgot one thing, that however much we get our hands all over Man United, they still have a tactician on the bench. They still have some of the best players this league has ever seen, and they will have to at some point in time. So I think he's right. Look, if we had kept the ball better, because the way we gave away the ball, the nature in which we gave away the ball, that is unacceptable. And I loved it in the first half when we gave away the ball, we pressed high up the pitch and won it back very quickly. But in the second half, and those two goals that we actually conceded, it is more of us giving away the ball and then trying, instead of closing down the spaces, we abscond. And when you abscond in such a situation, what you do is you create a lot of space and time for Bruno Fernandes and Christian Eriksen on the ball. And when you do that, they're always going to find that guy that is running off your shoulder. And Marcus Rashford, what a performance, lad. You are absolutely magnificent yesterday. On the VAR decision, ruling out Martinelli's goal, he said, I haven't seen the action. But what I said is that is a soft foul. It's just the consistency of the soft foul on Bukayo Saka against Tyrone Mings on the penalty last week that was not awarded. And then the soft foul on Aaron Ramsdale when we conceded against Villa, and that was awarded as a goal. It is just the consistency, but now there is nothing to do. That's what I'm talking about. That VAR has had an absolute stinker of a weekend. Goals change games, and many Arsenal fans will try to use this point as an excuse. Now, I don't want to use that goal as an excuse. We could have scored 5. We could have scored 6 in that game because we were absolutely dominant. But goals change games, and that goal could have changed the trajectory of that game 100%. It would have meant that Man United had nothing to sit back and defend for, so they had to commit numbers forward, and that is when Arsenal could have slapped them 3-0, 4-0, or even 4-2 or 5-2, depending on what could have happened after that. But when that goal is disallowed, and again, it goes into the back of the net, Man United players are straight away scared. They start sitting back. They let Arsenal have huge amounts of possession. And for me, again, yesterday it was self-destruction. Arsenal had the ball when we conceded the first goal, and Arsenal dominated the ball when we conceded the other 2 goals. When Man United had spells of possession, literally they didn't hurt us. They hurt us when we gave away the ball cheaply in sloppy situations. So I think the VAR decision changes the trajectory of the game, but not so much. That goal had already changed the trajectory of the game in our favor. We just didn't take the opportunity in our hands. On whether we were naive in the goals we conceded, he said we lacked discipline, and we conceded the first goal when it was in action with Bruno and 3 versus 3 in the back line, and we didn't follow our principles, and we conceded the goal, which was 2 against 1. After that, it was all us, chance after chance, dominating the game and imposing ourselves in the way we wanted to play. I said at halftime to the boys, the game is there for the taking. We play even with more courage, and we are going to win the game. We went to 1-1, and we should have been 2-1 or 3-1 in the best moment. Again, we gave them all away in a dangerous area. And top of that, we stepped in when we can never do that. We suffered. He says we suffered the goal. As a big lesson, if you want to win here, you have to do everything so right, and especially if you don't do it there, then in the opponent's goal, with the amount of chances that we created, we needed to score some more goals. I think Mikel is right here. I think he's absolutely right. In such situations, in these big games, and this is what I've loved about Man United this campaign. In the last 4 games, they've done 2 things. They've been so protective, well organized defensively, and very clinical in the final third, because that is what wins you big games. Can you score the goals? Yes, you can. Can you protect your lead or your point? Yes, you can. The moment you can't do that, it is absolutely over. For me, the Odegaard chance should be in the back of the net. A player of his caliber, Martin Odegaard, that chance in the second half, that should be in the back of the net. No excuses whatsoever. That should be in the back of the net. And I think, even those other chances that we had that didn't look like full chances, but they appeared us in the form of half chances, those should be taken as well. And those should be taken very, very seriously. So I don't think we played poorly, but Mikel is right here. The game was there for the taking, but you had to have a very good spell of defensive, of defensive consistency, and then you had to take your chances in the final third. The moment we didn't do that, Man United, that is what they did better. That is exactly what they did better. I thought at game especially in the second half, in terms of game management, they were absolutely very, very late. But taking your chances, Marcus Rashford, he took two chances, and that was just enough to win the game. Nothing more, nothing less. Of course, we don't forget the substitutions that were also cost us the game. On whether he noticed anything different about this United team, he said, "I'm not here to evaluate United. What I saw was a different Arsenal team that came here to play the way we played, and we played the way we wanted to play against these world-class players. And unfortunately, we didn't get the result that we actually deserved." So, look, on one hand, I think Mikel is going to be very happy with his team. The courage they displayed, I don't give a fuck attitude of who Man United are. We're going to play the way we have been coached, the way we've been trained, and we will actually try to, crush Man United. I think Man United fans, although they had the lead in the game all the time, they watched this game on more, pressure, under more pressure than Arsenal fans, because Arsenal looked very, very confident. I think if we have a good defensive midfielder that is happy to drop back into the back line, a good defensive midfielder that is happy to keep the ball better than Albert Sambi-Lokonga, better than Granit Xhaka, we win that game. I mean, just eliminate those 3 mistakes in the game, and see how we fare out. For me, it's about that midfield area. It's about that. On whether we still have a lot to learn, he said we need to be consistent with the top teams, and to challenge at the top of this league, you really need to come here and play the way that you want to play, but also win, and that's a very, very different story. But to play the way we did here today, I want to see how many teams will do this this season. He's right. The Old Trafford alone is a scary point. The Old Trafford alone is a point of, can you come here and pick up 3 points, but also can you come here and be that dominant? Now we will talk about Brentford, we'll talk about Brighton against Man United this campaign, but the truth is Brentford didn't play well against Man United. Brentford punished Man United because United were naive. The only team that I've seen play well against Man United this campaign has been Brighton. And Brighton, there is no question, under Graham Potter, they're a well-coached Premier League standard side. They're the real test. Whether they play Man United, whether they play Manchester City, whether they play Liverpool, they play the same system. They play a back 3, a midfield 4, and a 3 up top. And they look ridiculously well-coached. So, I think Mikel is right here. You're not going to have so many clubs that come at the Old Trafford and play well. That is one. But again, I think what Mikel gets wrong here is, and this is very arrogant of him, not every time you go to the Etihad, you go to the St. James's Park, to the Anfield, you have to play well. At times you come to pick up the result. And that is where I disagreed with Ben White starting at right back. That is where I disagreed with Albert Sambi-Lokonga playing in midfield. Because you want to pick up the result. You come here to pick up the result. Do it ugly. No one fucking cares. Pick up the 3 points and walk away. But we wanted to do it in a very romantic manner. I think we were very, very romantic. But in the end, there is no child. Romance doesn't give you a child, doesn't make a woman pregnant. And we just failed to make Man United pregnant. If you can make United, if you get United in the mode, just like we did yesterday, harass them, harass the ball, is in the end, what you have to do is to take your chances. And that's what we didn't do. We didn't do yesterday. So for me, it's not about playing well. It's about the 3 points. We didn't do that. On how we will stop the result harming the team's confidence, it says it won't happen That won't happen because the performance is there, and we know what we lack today. The details to lose the game and are here, and and we have a very, very different performance with the same result. Is how I want it. Is how I want to take it, because then you're questioning your level, and I don't think there is a question of the level there. Yeah, there is no question on the level of the performance. There is no question on the attitude of the boys. There is no question on the quality of the boys. The question is with what went wrong. How do we rectify what went wrong? If you can't do that, I don't think there is anything to be frightened of, really. I think we really, really did very, very well. Okay, on how difficult it is to maintain consistency when players are injured. This is where we talk about all the injured players. So stick with me. It says you're going to hurt. You are going to hurt me about that, and I'm not going to pay any excuses. To put in excuses, because these are the players that we have, and for me, they're the best players. We try to do that and give them the confidence and belief. And with those players, we can't play here the way we played. So that's it, and that's good. That's not going to change anytime very, very soon. So look, the question about consistency with injuries is one that Liverpool has answered horribly, terribly. The question about consistency with injuries is one that Chelsea, as a big club that we know has a lot of good players and a very, very big squad depth, have answered horribly, terribly. There is no question that the Premier League needs 35 men squad. There is no question. There is no doubt that in the Premier League, you even need a 35-man squad to compete for the top four for the Premier League. Spurs made around 11 signings. Nottingham Forest, 20 signings. There is a reason as to why these clubs bring in this amount of players. It is because in the Premier League, the tenacity of the league, the physicality of the league, the pressure in the league, your players are going to pick up injuries. And when they do, you have someone capable of following up in the back. I think that is what Arsenal didn't do. I think that's the only thing that we lacked. That is the only thing we lacked. We didn't have a player following in the back of Thomas Partey and El Neni. And with Albert Sambi-Lokonga, trying to be that guy, I think it's too heavy. It is too heavy. It is unfair for us to say Lokonga come in and play in that single pivot. So we won't be consistent without a number 6. I said this in the preview, and I'll say it again in the in Mikel Arteta's press conference reaction. We cannot be consistent with those injuries. You cannot be consistent when your most important player and most important part of the midfield base is actually not doing very well. You cannot be that consistent. So expect Thomas Partey to come back within the next 2 weeks. That means he won't be available for the Everton game, but he could be available for the Tottenham game and the Liverpool games. So that is the little positive that we have. Odegaard is half fit, so we might not see him in the Europa League this week. Of course, we have Europa League football. We might not see him in the Europa League this week, but I think he will be available for the weekend game. That is it from Mikel Arteta and me as well. We'll come back with the 6 things we learned. And of course, like I said, I will be talking about VAR, the Martinelli goal, and why I think VAR needs to leave football. See you soon.